Pizza Tower is a 2023 platform game created by the indie developer Torta Pizza. It follows a pizza chef. Wait, this is just a Wikipedia page. What am I doing? If you're watching a video like this, you're probably familiar with Pizza Tower, or challenge runs. So here's a take on a classic seen around the challenge run community, Pizza Tower without moving. The rules are as follows. Pressing left or right at any time is banned. If at any time it's impossible to move on, except for one instance we'll get to in a second, we'll go for the least amount of presses. Up and down are allowed, since while standing on the ground, they don't move you on their own. If possible, all secrets and the tower secret treasure are required to get. Lap 2 is also required, if possible, just to make me suffer. If any of these requirements require a left or right press, we'll ignore them. Our goal is to get as much completion as possible here, with the least presses. Top-ins, however, are not required. If we can progress in a level without one or two, we'll have less money, which is required for progression. But hopefully, this can let us make it through different parts of different levels, to prevent presses. Any more rules, I'll cover as we go. Honestly, I changed the rules a bit throughout the challenge, but who's gonna stop me? You? Try it. Come here. Now with the rules laid out, we start the challenge. The tutorial is our first little area, and the movement is simple enough here. We can grab to instantly give ourselves a bit of a boost, and holding right trigger lets us mock run, which is our fastest movement option. The tutorial is, well, not possible, that being said. We can't skip it, and there's this section where we need to break these blocks, which can only be achieved by going Mach 3, which requires a lot of startup, and the only way to do it in this small space is by turning around. I'll give in here, I can't figure anything out for it, but we're not going to count it towards any press count since it's the tutorial. The rest of the tutorial is easy enough. We can turn around by mock running into walls and jumping off. With that, we can now play the damn game. John Gutter is our first real test of the game. Lots of movement here is still kind of tutorializing us. And thankfully, none of it requires a turnaround like the tutorial did. The first secret is hidden in the ceiling here, and we enter it from the left, facing right, which was a massive mistake. The geometry of the secrets is often scarce, so we don't have many walls to turn around on here. This makes progressing impossible. So, after restarting, we enter facing left, and are able to move throughout the secret, even if we miss most of the collectibles. Lots of the top-ins here are just on the way forward, and the ones that are slightly out of the way don't stop us from grabbing them. The second secret is one we're mindful about entering, intentionally entering from the right facing left, which allows us to quickly climb and exit the secret. Jerome the janitor is on the way to the next room, behind a breakable wall. We then make it to the pillar, enter pizza time, and are now on a timer to escape. We slam to scale down the previous room, and run through the long stretch previous to that. The next room contains the tower treasure, which we super jump to. After this is a completely new room unique to pizza time. It's mostly a brawl, and it contains a third secret that we can barely build up speed to Mach 3 into the wall, and break the secret, which is some simple movement that we can run through. We then run back to the Lap 2 port. Oh, I forgot about this. When you start a new save file, if you're too slow in the tutorial, the Lap 2 portals don't unlock until you clear the level one time. And you know what? Screw that. I go and unlock all the portals, and enter Lap 2, which is just the same run, but again. We make it decently far, but with some sloppy movement, run out of time in Lap 2, and die to Pizza Face. Another attempt goes down to a secret, and on our next attempt, going into Lap 2, we have a pretty high combo. Huh. Wait, am I about to P-rank this level? P-ranking the level involves getting every secret, every top-in, the tower's treasure, and doing Lap 2, all without dropping your combo. I was going so fast through the attempt that I didn't even notice I wasn't dropping my combo. During my explanation, we're making it through the brawling room again, barely not losing our combo. We're running really low on time going into the final stretch, and here comes Pizza Face. Thankfully, we're moving incredibly fast through this area, and we we make it back to the door. We go through it. Wait, no, go through it. Wait, oh my god. Now, it's time for Pizza Escape. Which, not too far in the level, it's clear that this isn't possible. The night transformation stops you from mock running, or grabbing, or doing anything, really. And that normally wouldn't be an issue with slopes, but the first one here has no slopes that we can access. Thankfully, we can move on and skip this level for now. Ancient Cheese is here, and although the first room is simple, the first secret is already impossible. We enter from the right, facing left, and have to go right, with no walls on the left, making this secret impossible. Moving forward, Jerome the janitor is in a pretty easy to get to area, and we blow up this stupid rat to get the key. We also notice something though. You can't move while holding a bomb. That's not an issue, right? We then break open this metal block to unlock the key door. And what comes soon after is a problem. There's a stupid rat. By the way, that's its name, I'm not just saying that. Blocking the way forward. And the closest bomb is all the way back here. We can try to throw it multiple times, but the geometry doesn't line up, let alone the time issue. We can try the same thing with this enemy here, but again, the bomb explodes before we can get it far enough. We get really, really close to giving up. But after accidentally killing the bomb thrower, we realize we're going about it wrong. We can push this enemy with Mach 1 or 2, and we can push it right next to the stupid rat, which then lets us grab his bomb and blow up the rat. We try to do this for this very obvious secret too, but can't without us locking from progressing, because this rat is way far down and away. So, after we blow up this stupid rat, from there, it's a straight shot to the John Pillar. And the third secret is impossible again, making for 3 impossible secrets. And I have to go through the whole level again, but after a very slow and troublesome attempt to kill this rat, we barely make it back to the entrance, with less than 0 seconds on the clock. Blood Sauce Dungeon is another, more simple level. All the secrets allow maneuverability. Jerome is simple to find, and so is the treasure. And a lot of the movement is actually really interesting. Looks like this level is easy. Wait, are you kidding me? I'm stuck? That's crazy. Well, another attempt it is. One more niche thing I love about this level are these little triangles on the corners of most areas. By slamming into them, you automatically face downhill and are able to move a lot quicker and nicer than you otherwise would be able to, especially without pressing left or right. We make it further and further down on our next attempt, and eventually make it to the pillar. And can I just say, this level has always had one of the longest and hardest pizza times ever, and that extends into lap 2, where we barely make it to the door for an S rank. Now to Pepperman, and just to be needlessly cool, I'm setting a minimum rank of S for boss fights. Moving around in this fight feels wrong, since we're dealing with a target that moves just as much. Time to channel my inner Dark Souls and taunt until we can hit him. The first 4 hits are the same taunting, and the next 2 are similar. Then, once he's only vulnerable in the air, a well-timed taunt into a running uppercut mostly does the job. Then, we carve out a beautiful statue for Pepperman to admire before we kill him. Well, phase 2 is what actually happens, and it's the same, just harder. So, after a while, we finally get the last hit off on Pepperman, and we've won, with only 1 hit taken, meaning an S rank. And that's a solid 3 out of 4 record for floor 1. Floor 2, however, is a whole different story. Oregano Desert is easy until the Hot Wings, in which you can only dash in the direction you're looking. So, no matter which direction you pick, you soon get soft-locked. Fast Food Saloon is up next, and even though we can slowly move the weenie to kill the stupid rat, we're not fast enough to make it through this timed gate without being able to move on the weenie. Waste Yard is possible up until the Ghost transformation, where they make fun of us not being able to move left and right. Now, we better hope Fun Farm is possible. Otherwise, things are going to get a lot more complicated. The first secret isn't doable, and we're starting to get nervous. We make it to Mort, and by grabbing him from the left, we can use his attack to maneuver to the first priest. The next Mort, though, we're not so lucky. He's in a corner such that we have to get him from the left, and get stuck in the corner. Even if we got him from the right, we aren't able to progress. And well, now it's time to do this in the least amount of presses. I've been thinking about this, so we head back to Fast Food Saloon. With our previous strategy of slowly moving on the weenie by jumping on and off of it, we only have to press left once to make it past this timer. But it happens again. There's another timer. 2 actually. Thankfully, we can just hold right, since 1 input gets us through here, bringing us to 2 inputs. The John pillar is right next to Jerome, but the treasure isn't possible to get, so we just enter pizza time. The run is actually pretty easy, since there's a lot of straights and jumping off of walls or slamming, and with a lap 2 run back, our total presses come to 2 inputs. Now, we can go by the Vigilante. Wait, it's 150? No way. Well, back to floor 1, and to Pizzascape. The first night transformation is gonna make us press left once, since we're stuck. But we can slide, and only have to press 1 button before getting cleansed. And we do the same for the second transformation, which yes, isn't required, but we need all the top-ins for money. The secrets here involve the night power-up mostly, and exiting them, as well as entering them, require more inputs. The next 2 transformations are required for progression, and each take up 2 inputs. The first one in its intended way, and the second one to cleanse ourselves early, bringing the inputs to this level for 6. We can grab Jerome between these, and once we start pizza time, we grab the treasure, and with a simple run back, we can go to lap 2. But for now, quit out. We have to check to see if 6 presses is the minimum. Oregano Desert is up again, and we have a plan. The first Hot Wings transformation is 2 presses of the stick, one to turn around, the other to turn around to get cleansed. And on the second, we can use the speedrunning trick known as Hot Wing Skip, although with my own setup, in order to skip the second section, only using 1 press to cleanse ourselves. The next section, though, requires more than the rest of our contenders combined. On to Fun Farm, just to check. The first Mort transformation that gives us trouble requires 3 presses. 1 to go left again, 1 to go right, and the last one to go back left. This one can be handled with good positioning, but to cleanse, we actually need 3. Since you need a third to avoid this secret, which is not doable. Waste Yard is obviously the worst, so Pizzascape it is, with 4 presses added to the count. Now, with barely enough money, and our original idea for the challenge shattered, we move into the Vigilante. And, let's just say I don't think an S or P rank is possible here, so I'll stop being needlessly cool. The gun limits our movement a lot. Instead of grabbing, we shoot, which means if we're stuck against a wall, the only way out is taunting. But the Vigilante is pretty easy to just shoot over and over, for the majority of its phases. When we do take damage, like to the dynamite, or when we get bumped, moving back into position at the edge of the arena often gets us hurt more. Phase 2 is more relentless, with attacks like the dynamite making us move around while shooting. Lots of deaths happen here, some due to incompetence, some due to unfortunate circumstances. And once we get into the groove, we make it to phase 2 with full health, though it's difficult to tell what's going on, or where we're facing. But through some taunting, spamming, and standing a little away from the edge of the arena, allows us to overwhelm the boss, and kill him. Though Peppino says we did badly, I'm pretty happy with this run so far. Crust Cove is a little dangerous, since the piranhas give us lava flashbacks, but we can climb this wall to grab Jerome and experience this level's transformation. The barrel allows us to move by just holding Mach Run, which is nice, but this first platform wants us to move and jump. I say no. We'll do a near perfect jump to bounce off this wall, and jump again to hop this barrier, bypassing an intended press. The rest of the barrel segments are just holding Mach Run and jumping repeatedly. We grab a key, open the third secret, and start pizza time, where we roll through everything and grab the treasure before running to lap 2, adding 0 to our total button presses. Gnome Forest is up next, and starting out, it seems pretty simple, until Gustavo. Gustavo doesn't have a Mach Run unless you're moving. So, our grab, or in this case punch, is all we can do to move. We make it surprisingly far, all the way to the crawl section in the tutorial. But assuming that this isn't the only press, we give up for now. Now, since the noise is $200, and we can't beat every level here, we need to find a level from the previous worlds to do. As for golf, this level is designed to be ran through, but we can also go slow if we want. Every course, and the secrets, the treasure, and lap 2 are all possible pretty easily, even if Pizza Face chases us through the last couple rooms. Deep Dish 9 has some issues with the bubbles that pop up, but otherwise, there's 4 presses. 2 each from a couple rockets that turn us around. Now, we need 1 more level's worth of money. Oregano Desert and Waste Yard are out, so to Fun Farm it is. We take the 6 presses we discussed earlier, and bring our total to 16. Now to the noise, who honestly is pretty easy just to sit around and taunt, and we get a free hit in at the beginning with a belly slide. We can also use the enemies in phase 2, and pretty easily take out the noise. For a C rank? Really? I guess I did take 8 damage. The floor 4 boss is also $200, so let's hope these are all possible. Refrigerator, Freezerator, or just RRF, is up first. This level's gimmick is that as you heat it up, it gets harder and harder to traverse, but thankfully, all the rocket things are able to be dropped with the simple grab, so they're helpful for us. Once we grab the transformation here too, things are mostly the same, leading to another level with 0 presses. Now, let's try Peppybot Factory. This level is pretty easy to navigate through actually, up until the transformation. We get completely stuck at the first obstacle. When we bounce off of the wall, we go this set distance. Not that we would be able to go the other way anyway. Oh shit is impossible for a similar reason with the cheese ball. We can't move over to the priest, but we spend 1 right press to see how much more is possible. We can make it to the next section, where we have to hold left to climb up the wall. And by continuing to hold left, we can make it up. But the trash can segment shows us just how many presses are required, and we back out. The Pig City requires quite a few presses for the top-ins, before we even play as Gustavo, so it's safe to say it's a no-go. Back to Peppybot, we come back to the first transformation room, and totaling the times we move around, we come to 14 extra presses, which feels like our max, hopefully. That brings us up to 30. Then back to oh shit. The level is pretty simple movement-wise, just that the trash can lids require directions to move at all. Despite this, there are a few saves we can do, but ultimately, there are a total of 16 presses. It's safe to say, doing lap 2s in most of these levels would actually increase our press count by quite a bit. Now, we need 1 more level to complete this world, and our current levels are Gnome Forest, Pig City, and Waste Yard. Two of these levels are Gustavo and Brick levels, although Pig City has presses before Gustavo and Brick. Wasteyard has the Ghost transformation, which you have to move back and forth with a lot. Gnome Forest's top-ins are usually on a timer, and with how slow we move with Gustavo and Brick, I'm not sure they're possible. Nonetheless, with Floor 4's track record so far, and Wasteyard being the obvious worst choice, we head back into Gnome Forest. We require one right press to leave the tutorial, and we hold that for as long as we can. Thankfully, the first room is just running, and lots of the movement in this level is traversable in increments of grabbing, and the timers on the old pizza guys are very generous, leading to easy top-in after easy top-in. Unfortunately, we have to press right again to break this metal block, bringing this level to 2 presses. There's another press in this room with no floor, and one more in pizza time, bringing this level to a surprisingly low 4 presses, with a total of 50, moving into the fake Peppino boss fight. This fight is really odd, so we'll go through it one by one. The singular grab phase is easy enough to jump over, and grab once to hit him, and again to damage him. The fake Peppino clones are also really easy to jump over. And the frog? What is that? Phase is similarly easy, where we don't even have to move with the clones. The mock run phase is either jumping or taunting, and the head throw phase is a few simple jumps, and the super taunt phase is us taunting. And phase 2 is the same thing, but with a few fake clones in the back. And phase 3 is a simple run to the end. Now to the final floor. We have our first level, Pizza Scare. The gimmick of this level is getting ordained to kill ghosts, and thankfully that retains our normal movement. And even when this ghost guy tries to bother us, or when he kicks us into a ball, I don't have an issue. Moving up and down these areas are pretty slow though, since these platforms stop us from freely traversing. This is especially obvious in pizza time, since we die in lap 2 from taking too long. But another try, and we're familiar enough with this level to win with no presses added to the count. Don't Make a Sound is our last easy level, presumably. And I wasn't concerned going into this level for one simple reason. This level is more like a puzzle than an action-filled run-through. Your route in stopping the alarms from triggering is the only challenge here. And even when we get the gun, it doesn't limit our mock run, thankfully. Sometimes we open the secret to stay safe from the alarms, but overall, this one is actually pretty easy. And now we have War. Since I know we're gonna have to play every level eventually, let's see how many presses this one takes. One thing I will say about the gun is that once you're up against a wall, if you're facing it, your only hope of survival is either taking damage or taunting. If you can do neither, you're done. Despite this, there are only 2 presses in the whole level, that being in the first rocket section. The rest of the level is just good movement, mixed in with some taunting. And we bring our total count to 52. Now for the backtracking. We need $60 more, and I have a plan. In Pig City, nearly all of the top-ins are in their own areas that require many, many presses. But if we skip a lot of these areas, we can skip the presses too. We go to the one we have to, and skip this regular cop, to break this metal block, and go see Gustavo. We can mostly maneuver through, and when we do press right twice, we hold it for as long as we can. In pizza time, we press left once, and are able to make it back to Peppino, who we can then take to the exit. Now, for the level we've been dreading. The ghost segments in Wasteyard require horizontal movement almost exclusively. The first ghost room has 2, the following one has 3, the biggest room has 5, the first one in pizza time has 6, and the final trek to escape the ghost of John Pillar has 5. At least we can grab the ice cream. With our total count at 76, we go and disturb Pizza Face. Pizza Face's Phase 1 is problematic, in that when we grab an enemy to throw back at the boss, we're stationary, and can only throw upwards. Despite this, we can taunt Pizza Face, and when we line up with him, we can hit him. That's simple enough. Phase 2, though, is more similar to the Vigilante. We can sit in a corner and shoot, and when Pizza Boy moves, we can either get bumped or move ourselves to shoot him further. Then we have the boss rush. The only one that's really an issue is the Vigilante. It's hard to pick up a Gustavo from anywhere, but when we're facing the corner, and we actually die here quite a bit. But eventually we luck it out, and the noise and fake Peppino aren't an issue. For the last phase, everything our enemy does is scripted, so after watching each pattern once, we can kill him for a successful boss fight. But it's not over. We have one more level, on a strict timer. The Crumbling Tower of Pizza is a test of everything we've done. There's trash cans to spam grab off of, moving weenies, lots of slams, bubbles, and one press on the rocket. We actually fail on our first try, but it's nothing a second try can't solve. And with that, we've beaten Pizza Tower, possibly one of the most movement-intensive games to ever exist, while only pressing left or right 77 times. I'm almost certain I've miscounted, or missed something I can save, but overall, I'm pretty happy with this run. And we've completed every level. Right before I get this video out, I just realized I didn't have to do Waste Yard, and I could have done Oregano Desert. In my head, I had already done Oregano Desert, so I had to go to Waste Yard, which means there's potential to save 10 to 14 presses, because Oregano Desert still has some, but this run isn't optimal. But it's still pretty good. I think it's still a good run. This is my first non-Dark Souls challenge run I'm really putting a lot of effort into. So, if you enjoyed it, consider helping me out, just by liking or sharing if you want to, but you can also subscribe. This video in some way is going to influence the future of my channel a lot, so if you want to see more non-Dark Souls challenge runs, you can let me know, or just share the video with someone else so it does a little bit better, and I'm encouraged to do that more.